As I said in a previous entry, I've kind of been on this Netflix kick, kind of watching just about anything and everything that's on there. Just going through the motions of all the stuff that's available, watching things that I've been trying to catch up on. This being one of them, very excited to know that they finally had released the second season of Warrior Nun. Warrior Nun has a sort of special place for me because it is one of the first entries I did when I decided to start making this podcast. So leaving these sort of stories of mine behind, these perspectives, these tales of enjoyable and great film and television series, leaving a little piece of the history, within how I'm trying to portray them. Warrior Nun was one of the first ones. I want to say Warrior Nun was entry 8 or 9, if I'm not mistaken. However, the new season came out, and I'm just as excited, but also nervous, because I don't want this to fall into Netflix hell, where it just becomes another tremendously awesome show that they have at their fingertips, and they're just gonna give up on it. I haven't heard anything about a season 3 after this, so I'm gonna try to talk as positively as I can, because if anything, you have to watch it, the first 2 seasons, and just appreciate it for what we got of it so far. Now, one other thing, I don't remember if I mentioned this in the first entry or not. I didn't go back to listen to the other entry after I had recorded it, before I recorded this one, I should say. If I didn't mention it then, this series is based on a comic book. The comic book is called Warrior Nun Ariella? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but that's what I think it's called. And it's essentially the same story. There's this path between, heaven and hell and the inner world, and a nun was chosen to be the warrior to defend it all. So it's really deep into Christianity. I haven't even thought to go and find the comic books. I appreciate the show for what it is. I don't like it enough to dive into it like that. Like, it didn't get me like Umbrella Academy did. But it just also goes to show you that Netflix is just kind of, they'll pick up comics and they'll make them. Umbrella Academy, The Old Guard. They're giving comic books a chance because it becomes really good material. It becomes great storytelling. And this is a really unique story. This idea that the warrior is, not even a nun in and of itself, because the story revolves around Alba Baptista. Try to say that 10 times fast. I dare you. Alba Baptista's character, Ava. Ava is this paraplegic orphan who just so happens to be in this monastery when it becomes attacked by one of these demons, and the warrior nun is perishing, and they have to hide the halo. They hide it in this paraplegic girl, and then she becomes the warrior nun against her will. She's not a nun. She's not trained to be a nun or to understand these powers or to understand her role, because this league of nuns who also train to be warriors are trained to fight alongside the warrior nun. They understand it, and they're meant to be trained to sort of to show who the next in line for the halo is going to be. So Ava gets it. The entire first season is her journey, understanding her being this new superhero, and then it leads to this huge climax that's just bananas. It's bananas. The second season picks up where the first season left off. It takes place maybe 6 months after the initial story. They go into hiding. The angel they broke out from underneath the Vatican decides to tell the world that he is here and he is the new coming of Jesus, but he's really not. And the Pope sees that. All the nuns know that. The clergymen know that. And some of people still kind of fall in line with him. So it's the second season is this huge betrayal story about people getting brainwashed and being driven to really believe that this guy is meant to be the coming of Jesus, because the guy they got to play him really does look like Jesus when he gets all the robes on and stuff. So he's meant to be, this demon who's playing the part to convince people that he is like their savior, but really he's not. Really what he's doing is he's getting them to pray for him, and then he's like feeding off of their prayers and getting stronger and stronger by each prayer and each new follower he gains. And so the story is just them trying to stay in hiding from his followers and find a way to kind of defeat him. And it goes really deep into the lore of Christianity, and it brings a lot of concepts from there into it. Like the one thing that can trap him is the crown thorn that Jesus was wearing when he was, walking to his crucifixion. That's the only thing that can stop him, and then they get it, and it's like this really cool ring of wood that only the warrior nun can touch and bring to life, and the warrior nun grabs it, and it springs out these thorns that don't affect her whatsoever. And it also shows a lot more on Ava's side when it comes to still her fighting with the idea that she is this warrior and coping with being in hiding, because she's meant to be like 19. So she's this 19-year-old that's been told you have to save the world. And yeah, she gets it, but she's also still a dumb 19-year-old, to me at least, because she does still do a lot of things that you kind of get pissed about. But you need that because she has to be naive. She can't always be the best of the best, because then it wouldn't make sense for the entirety of the story and, not cause certain plot devices to occur. A lot of the times that gets a little overdone. It's not looked at the same as it used to because it is too overdone. But, sometimes in my perspective, it does work and it does sort of make sense, even though sometimes, especially for this show, and I do praise this show, I'm not saying it's wrong in any way, but there are some, relatively dumb moments to me. But then again, there's also a lot of redeeming moments. Like, this show is just really good. It's really well-rounded. It really gets you into the idea of, what it is they're trying to tell. And it doesn't really confuse anything. I might be confusing with how I'm trying to portray it now because I'm really trying to explain it. But what I want to explain is enough to encourage somebody to go and give it a chance. Like, I've really tried to convince my wife to watch this, and she won't go near this for some reason. But I love it. I think it's just a tremendous show. The second season was great. It's been 2 years since the release of the first season, which goes to show that I've been doing this podcast for 2 years as well. And it's just amazing to see that they gave it the second season and it wasn't going to fall in line with the rest of the unfortunateness of all of the canceled Netflix shows and Netflix series they never gave a chance. Jupiter's Legacy, Cursed, the list goes on and on. They gave the Winx saga a second season. I haven't watched that one yet, but that's done. They gave The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina 4 seasons. That's done. Though they kind of wrote it to be that. I understand it, but that's done. Wu Assassins I'm getting into now as well, but that's also done. They closed that out with a film. I'm really upset about that because I'm a big fan of Ego US, and this is just a constant for Netflix. And I just hope that if they are planning to kind of end it, that they end it like a little bit better than what this was, and maybe just the bittersweet ending we got with season 2, maybe that I can appreciate a little bit and give it its credit and allow it to be that. But I also just I love the story, so I kind of want more. I really do want more. I don't know if I'm going to get it, but you should definitely give these seasons a shot and give the show a shot. It's completely worth it.